Sarah, thanks for being with us. Maybe you can just explain a bit for our viewers what yesterday's announcement means and what still remains to be done for organizations you work with, like the First Nations Family and Children's Caring Society.
So yesterday, Canada, the Assembly of First Nations, and a series of class action council announced that they had finalized an agreement to settle the class actions. So Canada has committed to paying $20 billion in compensation to the victims of discrimination through its child welfare program and its discriminatory application of Jordan's principle. So that's what was announced yesterday.
So this is a bit legal, but from what we understand, the federal government still has a standing appeal on the earlier federal court ruling. In your view, is that necessary?
That's right. So what we have are sort of two different proceedings. We have the Human Rights Tribunal process, where the First Nations Child and Family Caring Society and the Assembly of First Nations together successfully advocated for the payment of human rights compensation to the victims. We were successful in 2019, and as you just pointed out, Canada then, brought that to the federal court. They challenged it in federal court, and we won that also. And then when we won that, they brought it up to the Federal Court of Appeal. That appeal is now stayed, so it's kind of just hanging out on the side, while the class action folks have been negotiating a final settlement agreement to settle the class actions. It looks like what they want to do is bring that final settlement agreement to the tribunal and ask the tribunal to declare or make an order that its orders have been satisfied. So that's kind of the next step. It is a bit of a weird process. We have an ongoing human rights complaint and a series of class actions happening at the same time that definitely have some overlaps in terms of who is eligible.
So if everything continued to move forward, how soon could it be before settlement money is dispersed to affected children and their families?
It's hard to say right now, to be honest, because they have to go to the tribunal, and then if they get what they ask for at the tribunal, they then need to go to the federal court and have the settlement approved there. So it's hard to know what the timing is. Hopefully next year or sooner than that, but more likely next year, the money would start to be rolled out.
And from what we understand, it would likely be around minimum $40,000 or so per affected person?
So that's what we hope. The Caring Society has been advocating very strongly that $40,000 needs to be the floor. That was what was argued and won at the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal, particularly for the child victims. We really want to ensure that children who have already won an entitlement to $40,000 don't see that chipped away at all through the final settlement agreement. And we, just received the final settlement agreement as signed, so we're going through it, and we just want to make sure that when they come to the tribunal that those kids in particular are protected and that those orders are respected.
Like you said, there's still some legal work obviously to be done. How will possible recipients of a settlement know what to do next and when to do it?
That's a really good question. It's been a lot of years. We won in 2019. The compensation was ordered at that time, and then various other steps have been happening over the last 3 years. So I think it's fair. I think it's a fair comment to say, how are people supposed to know what to do? I think once on the class action side, if the settlement is approved, then there probably will be a flurry of activity and people will start to get more media coverage. Hopefully the notices to folks on how to apply, the forms they need to fill out, all of that will be made public. But before any of that happens, we have to make sure, at least from the Caring Society's perspective, that the kids who've already won their entitlement have those entitlements respected. The other thing I think it's important to point out is we want to make sure that the supports are also there. So when the money becomes available, recipients can also access all kinds of services and supports when they get the money. We worked closely with Youth in Care and formerly in Care about what would you like to see in a compensation process, and they were very clear to us that they want to see not just the financial side, but also things like financial literacy, mental health supports, cultural supports, community supports. And so ensuring that the distribution process respects those principles is going to be really important.
Sarah, we'll have to leave it there, but certainly appreciate you taking some time for us today to talk about this.
Thanks very much. Have a great day.